what's up, everybody? Tricky Guy Podcast. It's your host, Brent Bilski. What is going on? Did you have a wonderful Easter weekend?
Happy, 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 happy. I'm so happy today.
I can usually dance better than that. Hope you had a good vacation. Hope it didn't catch you like it did my man here. Just thought I saw this. I had to bring this to you. This is this how your Easter weekend went? Best friends smack you around a little bit?
Oh, boy, Jesus.
Take that. And take that.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. You know, you think life's just going great. You're Easter egg hunting. You're a little 4-year-old. Next thing you know, your best friend.
Oh, boy, Jesus.
Like, take that.
Oh, Jesus.
Take that, take that, take that. Just thought that was funny. Yeah, life can hit you fast, as the Minnesota Timberwolves found out. We'll get into that. We also have discussions, some other subjects that came up. But the main thing, we now know the NBA playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
There's ever a time to listen to me, it's during the NBA playoffs. NBA is definitely where I rest my laurels, rest my hat, where I have the ability to see things before they happen.
You're psychic. You can predict the future.
And we will break it all down. Might as well just get right into it right now. I don't see the Eastern Conference being that exciting. And so, yeah, this is the NBA playoffs. It's time. We got here. It is the second or third year, I believe, of the play-in tournament, which is very interesting. So nowadays, if you haven't been watching the NBA in the last few years, it doesn't just go 1 through 8. Now it goes 1 through 10, and 7 through 10 in the seedings now have to play in what's called the play-in tournament, which they are all excited about. Commissioner Silver in the new CBA has decided they're going to do some new random-ass tournament in the middle of the season. Anything to keep interest in some of the lesser teams is the better. But the way the play-in works, from now on, the 7th and 8th seed will play each other, and the winner of that gets the 7th. And after that game, then whoever lost in the 7 versus 8 now plays the 9th and the 10th seed, and whoever gets that game gets the 8th seed. So, yeah, you got all that?
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
One more time. So, in the 7 and 8, they will play each other first, and whoever wins out of the 7 and 8 gets to have the 7th seed outright. So the 8th seed can become the 7th seed if they win that game. However, whoever loses that game will then go on to play the winner of the 9 versus the 10 seed. And so if you're starting off as a 7th seed, you lose that first game to the 8th, and then you lose to whoever wins the 9th or 10th, you could be the 7th seed, and it don't mean a damn thing. Your ass is gone. You're out of there. So it is a interesting little tie-in, and so we still have a little bit of a murky picture. There's a lot of interesting little side notes, though, as you look at who we do have, including a certain team that I love got extremely lucky. And I meant to call this shot when I was there earlier.
You're psychic. You can predict the future.
In previous podcast, I'll explain. Golden State got a golden road. And you also have to see what happened. LA Lakers and LeBron are going to have a pretty decent road themselves. But looking around overall, so in the Eastern Conference, I really think this comes down to 3 teams and 3 teams only. We could try to discuss some of the other stuff, but who cares? It is a race between Milwaukee, Boston, Philadelphia. That's pretty much it. Everyone else, Miami might be cute as a low seed and get an upset because of Jimmy Buckets when he comes around the playoffs. He can be a very interesting character there. But to me, other than that, Cleveland has got a puncher's shot at making some damage. They're young. Donovan Mitchell, very good player. Mobley, the Garland kid. They got some good players there, but I just don't see anyone out of the Eastern Conference, especially messing with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, and this will be I can't call it completely yet, but this will be my called shot today. I'll just go ahead and do this now.
He's calling his shot.
So when I get this right, I'm pretty sure I will, and I could play this back, even though I've been saying this from the very early beginnings of this podcast. The Milwaukee Bucks, if you do not have them as the outright favorite to win not just the Eastern Conference, but the NBA Finals, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't understand quite what they're missing or what you're missing unless you're just not a fan. Just say you don't like Milwaukee. That's an argument I could at least get with. But this is a team that just won the finals a couple years ago. Giannis Antetokounmpo has gone out of his rabbit-ass mind. This year averaged 31, 12, and 6. 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists on like 55% field goal shooting, can hit his free throws now, can hit a three-pointer every now and again. Those numbers, the last time we'd seen those numbers combined, haven't been seen since Wilt freaking Chamberlain. To give you an idea of the combination of dominant size and speed. He's still young. He's got championship experience. He's probably going to be a little pissed off because, let's be honest, they're going to basically not hand it, that's unfair, but Joel Embiid is going to get the MVP award this year, and Giannis has the better record than him and had just about arguably a good or better year than him. And maybe because Philly's a bigger market, they got a little more love. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. So Giannis is going to have a la that maybe Akeem Olajuwon. If y'all don't remember, way back, because I'm an old-ass man, dog. I'm an old-ass man, dog.
I'm a grown-ass man, dog.
There was a long time ago when Akeem Olajuwon was in his prime for the Houston Rockets and arguably the outright best player in the league. And because of everything that happened, they gave it to David Robinson. When they met in the playoffs that year, Akeem went in on David Robinson like they were in prison, and he didn't give up his commissary. Oh, my Lord. Akeem ate David's lunch. I could see that happening. If Giannis and Embiid get to face each other at some point, that would be very exciting for me. I would love to see it and see Giannis possibly prove a point, kick him in the ding-ding a little bit.
He kicked him in the ding-ding.
We'll see. But I'm telling you right now, the Milwaukee Bucks, not just, and that's the other reason I love Milwaukee so much. Let's ignore some of the facts, but facts that you need to know. The fact is they have the best record in the entire NBA. So if they have the best record in the entire NBA, they are not ever going to not have home court advantage in the playoffs all the way through the NBA Finals. They are 32-9 at home. They have one of the top 5 home records in the entire National Basketball Association. They don't do as well on the road, but it doesn't matter. And when you look at their biggest threat, who I think is Boston, when Boston played each other last year, it came down to the Game 7 on the road, and that's how Milwaukee ended up not making the NBA Finals and arguably giving the Golden State Warriors, my boys, a better push and a better run because they have the size to go with it. But this year they have home court throughout the entire playoffs. They have a pissed-off and just thriving Giannis Antetokounmpo. Chris Middleton, by the way, has been back recently. In his last 11 games, Chris Middleton's averaging 19-9 with 7 assists. A huge weapon, as he was during their NBA Finals run. But they're not condensed to their top stars anymore. They also got Drew Holiday, who is really coming to his own. Their point guard just had a 51-point game not that long ago. You got other guys out there, as much as I think Grayson Allen is a little bitch, punk, pain in the ass, he's a very good player, even though he's dirty and kind of just snotty, and everything I don't like about people kind of represents frat boy douchebagness a little bit. You got other guys like Ingles. You have, again, Middleton, but you also have Pat Connaughton, who's a very good player. You have Jay Crowder, who they picked up in the trade deadline. You got Brooke Lopez down low. They picked up Myers Leonard. Sorry to the Jewish community and everyone he offended, but they picked him up. There's another 7-footer. So when I look at Milwaukee, they have home court, they have Giannis, they have a healthy Middleton, they have shooters, they have defense, they have height. You tell me, what am I missing here? What have I read to you so far?
And I read
that I haven't explained. I mean, Milwaukee is the favorite to win the whole thing. I am telling you that right now. Lock that in. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a duh because they are the number 1 overall seed, but I've been screaming this for a couple months now. I've been saying Milwaukee is that team. So moving on, because there's much more to get into. You got the Boston Celtics, and it's so amazing that after everything, so many things in this NBA playoffs came down to one game. It's, an 82-game season. You think of how many back-to-backs where they sat starters, or you could tell the team kind of just didn't really, just was passively into certain games, trap games, all these roadblocks and obstacles that they hit. in the end, it came down to one game deciding the difference between home court advantage if Boston and Milwaukee playing each other. Boston won behind now in 57-25. They tried to end the regular season wicked hot, but they're in the second seed. Will be on the road where they are not that good, by the way. They are very mediocre on the road, so a Game 7 versus Milwaukee would be interesting. They do boast, though, the largest the point differential in wins and losses, so they win by an average of 6.5 points, which is by far the most in the league. They can get away from you. Boston is, I think, a little too dependent on the three-point shot. That's one thing I don't like with Boston. I don't think that style will always work out for them, and I think that would be their downfall versus a Milwaukee who can pound you inside a little bit. Pause with Giannis Antetokounmpo and others, but they only shoot. The only team that shoots more threes than the Boston Celtics is the Golden State Warriors. They are good defensively, but not great. They're 28th in the entire league at getting to the free throw line. Very live and die by the three. Obviously, when you have Jason Tatum averaging 30 points a game and Jaylen Brown averaging 26.6, they were as a duo combined for 25 points. Each one scored 25 points in the same game 33 times. The last time a duo has scored at least 25 points together in 33 different games were guys named Kobe and Shaq. So that's how dominant those two can be.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
But I still have the whole thing going down to the fact that in a 7-game series, Milwaukee gets the home court. Philadelphia 76ers, and that's so if you look at the way the playoffs are seeded, in the bottom side of the Eastern Conference, 76ers will take on Brooklyn in the first round, and that's who cares. Then you have the winner, though, of Boston takes on the 7th seed, whoever that ends up being, Miami, Atlanta. There's also Chicago or Toronto. Whoever it comes out to, I really think, though, the next round will be the 76ers and the Boston Celtics. I pretty much can pencil that in, barring some sort of miracle. Will be a very interesting series because the 76ers ended the season strong. Embiid is going to win the MVP this year. That's not really psychic.
You're psychic. You can predict the future.
Just go ahead and lock that in. James Harden has had a very good year while no one's paying attention. Everyone's been talking about Embiid's 33 points per game leading the NBA. James Harden also led the league in assists this year. James Harden at 10.7 assists led the league in assists. I mean, he played a very good job at point guard. And the one thing Philly can do, for as top-heavy as they are, they can pick and roll you, which the playoffs come down to the pick and roll a lot. The Embiid Harden pick and roll, just so you know, leads in the entire league at 17.5 averages points per game. They get 18 points per game on average just off the pick and roll. They also can isolate Embiid, who can be a monster in the one-on-one. They don't put him in the post anymore. They let him go to the top of the key where he can move and get around and use some of his skill set that's more than just being able to hit you up inside. They are a top-heavy team, though. I mean, other than Maxey and Harris, the only person that averages more than 10 points a game on the entire Sixers roster is Melton. That's a bad precedent. That's a bad thing. You do not want to be top-heavy going into the playoffs where you're going to need it. They won't win you every game, but there's going to be that game 5 or that game, somewhere in the middle of the series where usually if you make a championship run, that someone that usually only averages like 10, 12, 14, something like that is going to bust loose for 28. You got to have those role players and those guys that aren't going to be consistently there, but can give you enough. And, of course, if you're a Sixers fan, you're going to scream Maxey at me. Fair enough. I still think they're missing maybe one. I think Sixers this year are missing a piece before I want to, crown them too much. So out of the Eastern Conference right now, I'll say it once. I've said it again. I'll say it 300 times. I believe the Milwaukee Bucks are going to, when all is said and done, when the dust settles, they will be there.
You're psychic. You can predict the future.
Could be dead wrong. But out of the Western Conference, this is where everything gets so much more interesting. Western Conference is just a cluster of situations. And I mean, all the way down to the very last games of the season. It came down to the last games just yesterday to where Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, so many teams were decided by the very last game of the season because they either had ties and there was tiebreakers and there was all sorts of mess. And in the end, this is one of the most interesting playoffs in the Western Conference ever because your top 3 seeds, we don't know, and they're very inexperienced. I mean, Memphis and Denver have a little bit, but first seed right now is the Denver Nuggets. We'll see if you can trust the logo. Second seed is the Memphis Grizzlies, who, thanks to Ja Morant pulling out guns and doing all the beautiful stuff he was doing. Now, he has been playing great. You got Dylan Brooks dressing like Rick James, which it's a whole nother conversation. But they also lost Steven Adams. So there's been a lot of injuries and health issues that I will get into in a second because Minnesota, Minnesota, just hand LeBron I'll get there. The Western Conference is on the top 3 sides of it with Denver, Memphis, and Sacramento. The very beatable as far as they are not these juggernauts that the Eastern Conference has. And at the bottom now, when you look at it's the first is Denver. They're taking on whoever wins all the play-ins between New Orleans, OKC, Lakers, Minnesota. After that, though, Phoenix and the Clippers. Sorry if you're a Clippers fan. Hey, your new stadium's going to have a bunch of toilets. Huh? Bunch. You can pee wherever you want. That's the one thing Ballmer made sure to promise you guys, so enjoy that.
Pee-pee!
But you got Phoenix, who's been undefeated without Kevin Durant. Good luck. You have then Sacramento and Golden State, which that was so happy Golden State was able to get there. Then you have Memphis taking on whoever's the 7th seed there. Lots of interesting things to break down, but this is one of the big ones, is that Memphis is going to take on the winner of the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if you guys did not see what happened in Minnesota, they lost their rabbit-ass mind.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
Start off in their last game, Jaden McDaniels, who is going to be, quote-unquote, the LeBron stopper. Well, he was going to be the LeBron stopper.
Real man of genius.
So during the game last night, McDaniels, their starting power forward, was in some foul trouble, and he gets pushed. They take him back to the locker room for some reason. Watch what he does on the way out. He decides to punch a wall hard, and he fractures his hand. He's out for the playoffs.
You can see Jaden McDaniels right here. When he swings, he grabs his hand immediately.
You dumb bastard. Now, I can't say too much, but look at it again.
You can see Jaden McDaniels right here. When he swings, he grabs his hand immediately. You can see Jaden McDaniels right here. When he swings, he grabs his hand immediately.
He's out. He's out for the playoffs. Your starting power forward is gone because in the last game of the season, he decided to punch the wall. Now, if anyone can't say too much, it's myself. I don't want to get into too much personal stories, but if you notice, I don't know if you can see, if you look, there's a scar right here in the middle. A long, long time ago when I was still drinking and I was smoking a lot of what's known as the ganja.
I love weed, okay? I love it.
I used to punch things all the time growing up when I played basketball, and I would get frustrated. I'd punch fences. I would do all sorts of, stupid stuff, hit chairs, hit walls, and my dad always tried to warn me. And unfortunately, your parents are right a lot of times that they're in your life and they're there for you than you want to admit. Kept saying one day it's going to bite you in the ass. I was losing a video game. It's 5 a.m. I thought it'd be a good idea because Evander Holyfield's avatar or character on the PlayStation 2 game Fight Night would not counterpunch to my liking. Punched a glass table, completely severed the tendon. This took 1.5 years of surgeries and rehab to get back to where I can just make a fist. And to this day, I still can't feel it that well.
I ain't got a good brain.
It's still sensitive and stuff like that. I basically messed up my hand permanently because when you're young and you're Jaden McDaniel, sometimes you think you're bulletproof. You can do what you want. Nothing's going to hurt you.
Whatever. I'll do what I want.
And now the Timberwolves are in big, big trouble. But that wasn't even the highlight or the biggest punch that happened in this game. Like I said, they lost their mind. So the guy that they trade for, their big acquisition in the offseason, Rudy Gobert, a few years off of his famous, remember when he had when COVID just came out, and after a press conference, he like goes on purpose and touches the mics, and turns out the dumbass actually had COVID.
I ain't got a good
Remember that
brain.
one? Well, now he's on the Timberwolves. They are, looking to get some momentum going to the playoffs, and he and Anderson decided to get in a fight right there on the sidelines. This is just, things could not have, if you're a Timberwolves fan, things could not have gotten worse for you yesterday. Because, yeah, look at this. So Anderson and Gobert are arguing about rebounds or something, and then this happens.
That's just something you don't see every day. I know the tensions, you played in this game, you've been in a lot of heated battles, but
I don't know that I've ever seen. I've never.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare. I mean, you've seen Draymond hit pull in practice before the season started, which was its own thing. But, yeah, so Gobert and Anderson started getting into it. Look at this. I don't like you. You are not French. You don't know espresso. Screw you. I mean, you're supposed to be a leader of the team. What are you doing?
I know the tensions, you played in this game, you've been in a lot of heated battles, but
what a stupid thing to do.
I don't know that I've ever seen. I've never.
To not still, after, just being, impulsive and maybe a little French. I don't know what you want to call that, but man, so Minnesota is playing the LA Lakers in the first play-in game, and you got to pick the Lakers. I mean, you got to think Minnesota is going to then have to take on whoever wins between the Pelicans and then the Thunder. Now, they should be able to get the 8th seed and take on the Denver Nuggets. That's kind of what I think is going to happen here. LA will win, get the 7th seed, take on the Grizzlies, and then you have the winner between whoever wins between Pelicans and Thunder. And Pelicans without Zion. Zion, dude, I'm sorry.
Cry me a river, you fat baby. You disgust me.
Lose the weight, dude. I'm tired of the excuses with Zion Williams and the Pelicans, and that's all I'm going to say about the New Orleans Pelicans until they address or really get after Zion. And I know they've tried through contracts and other things, but, I mean, he's been too fat.
Telling me to lose weight. Oh, I'm a hot case, he says. Well, listen up, City Jim. I ate a baby!
I don't know what he's eating out there, but he continues to have injury issues, and you can point to this and point to that and say, he carries his weight differently, and no. In the end, the Pelicans are never going to be a threat until they can address the Zion, who can be a superstar situation, to just drop. He's got to drop at least like 25 pounds and get into a lean ability shape to where he can play a consistent 70-something games at least and be healthy for the playoffs.
Cry me a river, you fat baby. You disgust me.
So, whatever. But, yeah, so I don't see the Pelicans probably even beating the Thunder with SGA. And if you're the Thunder fans, you got to be a little like, because you really probably wanted to be in the lottery. Imagine if you guys could have landed Wembanyama with Holmgren coming back and SGA and Dort and some other things and some pieces, Giddey, that you have out there. But the Memphis, the Memphis, whoever going to take on, I really think will be the LA Lakers. Which, short of where Golden State landed, I mean, you look between the Clippers, Lakers, and Warriors, who all could have traded spots in this last day of playing. The LeBron James-led Lakers really did get a pretty good situation. So I guess, good for you. Good for you if you're a Lakers fan. I'm not a huge. I don't want to get into my LeBron stuff.
Here we go again.
He's just what he is. He calls himself king all the time. Did y'all see the last game? So they're playing the Jazz. Let me show you this since I got the video for it. This type of stuff kind of explains LeBron to me in a nutshell. He's playing the Jazz. They don't have anything to play for. He hits one long three, and he does the. I'll just show
48 hours. logo three. You bet. LeBron puts him to sleep. 36 points in his final game of year 20 in the regular season.
You know, celebrating because they made it to the play-in tournament.
Oh, good for you.
He's just, it's hard, man. It's hard because it's not even his fault. Your fan base, you love to put him in the GOAT conversation, and you mention names like Jordan and Kobe and Magic and Bird, and there are stats here and there and longevity, and I can get all that. He just does things that make him hard, just real hard to put in the category of some of the other greats mentally. Like, I saw this clip. This is from a little bit ago, but if you want to just see what about LeBron bothers me, look at stuff like this. Stuff like this. Anyone touch him? Did anyone actually touch him as he's flexing that he got fouled? Look at this again. I'm going to run this. I'm going to stop it right when this supposed, I mean, dude, look. Right there. That's the contact that he's going to, oh, man, I'm so strong. No one touched his ass, yet he still flies around, makes a layup that he should have made anyways because no one touched him.
I hate.
It's hard not to dislike him, and your fan base really does that a lot for me. Whatever. We're getting off track. The point is Lakers should get the Memphis Grizzlies, and, you know, that's actually a pretty decent road if you're the Los Angeles Lakers after you beat most likely Minnesota, who I guess maybe could galvanize behind the fight and losing McDaniels in the last game. That's a possibility. And the Lakers may be thinking now that they're in turmoil and we're hot. We've won 9 of 11. We're looking good. Davis has been playing great. LeBron is, no one's touching him for and ones. He's hitting threes when they're up 10 against the Jazz and kinging himself. You know, they're feeling themselves pretty strong. The trades they made at the deadline were very beneficial for them. D'Lo, I keep forgetting about D'Lo. I mean, he's going to be a huge factor going back and playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. So all the golden road is really laid for the Lakers to get into the, you know, next series against the Grizzlies there, who are missing Steven Adams for the rest of the year, by the way. That was a new report. His knee injury has not panned out, so Steven Adams most likely out for the entire playoffs. Definitely the Lakers series. And when you go against a guy like Anthony Davis, that might be beneficial to have him. And their other backup center, they had another guy, and his name's escaping me, but they had two centers go down. I want to say, is it Adams? Not Adams. There's another one. I'll get to it. Or I'll remember it at some point. Dude, there's a lot of names. Sorry about that. A little petty. But I still think that, yes, if you're the Lakers, you should get the Grizzlies. You should have a good chance to beat the Grizzlies. And then we will have something very interesting. We would have then the Lakers take on the Golden State Warriors, who I think will be. If you're the Warriors, you could not have asked for anything better. You really could not have asked for anything better. I meant to get to this during other podcasts, but then Tony and I would get distracted or we go off into some other things. And I was teasing there was a perfect little spot for one team to get. And I really believed once Sacramento locked in the 3rd seed that it had to be the 6th seed because whoever got that takes on Sacramento. Nothing against Sacramento. Good young team, but they are horribly inexperienced. They have not been to the playoffs since like Bibby and Divac and Weber in those old days. It's been a minute since we've seen the Sacramento Kings even in the playoffs. I love De'Aaron Fox. He's a dog. De'Aaron Fox is that dude. Sabonis, also a great young player. They got a rookie in Murray who set the all-time rookie record for threes. They have Mike Brown, their head coach, who is a former Warriors head coach, assistant coach, knows the team very well. But when you looked at the top seeds, especially if you're Golden State, who's just a bunch of little lollipop kids, and, you know, they live and die a lot by the three because they're just too freaking small, which I have explained plenty of times. You did not want to face Denver and Jokic. You did not want to go against a Memphis who can bully ball you, play you inside, and plus, you know, they have that history. If you were the Warriors, who I'm a huge fan of, you wanted the 6th seed and you wanted the Sacramento Kings. And that's what they got. The Golden State Warriors, more than any other team out there currently, I think really just, you know, all the things combined, had everything at the end of the year work out about as best as they possibly could. I am very, you know, I would love them to be a 1st seed or something like that, but all things considered, as bad as they have been on the road this year, historically bad, 2 injuries to Steph Curry, losing Andrew Wiggins, having started the season with Draymond punching Poole in that whole debacle, then the contract situations coming up. With all the turmoil and everything said, the fact that they get to play the Sacramento Kings in the first round is just beautiful. I love it. And it was so lucky, too, because the Clippers could not, as the 5th seed, because they got the Phoenix Suns, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. So the 4th and the 5th seed now, Phoenix Suns, LA Clippers. The Phoenix Suns have not lost without Kevin Durant, with Kevin Durant. With Kevin Durant in the lineup, they are 7-0. They are rolling. They are cruising right now. They look extremely good and probably my favorites to come out of the Western Conference, even though they're down at the 4 seed. You look at all that, and the Clippers with no Paul George, who still got injuries, he's going to be, you know, maybe at the end of the series, possibly, and even then he won't be 100%. If you were the Clippers, and the only reason they couldn't have done this, because if they would have lost, even though they owned the tiebreaker over Golden State, if they would have got down they would have been possibly in the play-in. If there was a situation, and I was so happy they both had to play at the same time yesterday at 2:30 tip-off, and I found out that Golden State won and there was a situation to where I could get down to the 6th seed, I would have tanked on purpose and really done everything I could to avoid. The Phoenix Suns are the best 4 seed, arguably in NBA history. You look at the Phoenix Suns, again, 7-0. Kevin Durant is averaging 29-plus in the playoffs, 4th all-time in playoff scoring. You got Devin Booker averaging 28 this year. You got DeAndre Ayton averaging 18 and 10. Chris Paul, 14 and 9. You got Ross coming off the acquisition, averaging 40% from threes. They're a little top-heavy. Only 2 players usually off the bench all regular season will get 15 to 20 minutes on average. In, you know, after the trade, they are a little top heavy, but that is the best without question. I'd have to go back and look, but I can't really see a lot of 4 seeds you can argue that have ever been historically better than what the Phoenix Suns are offering. And for the Clippers to have to get them in the first round after winning, you know, the 5th seed and being like, yay, we passed Golden State. You know, we got the 5th seed. Yeah, have fun with that. Have fun with that. The Golden State Warriors got the perfect road as far as they will play the Sacramento Kings, who's a good young team that could beat them, but if you asked for anything, that's who you wanted. Then you'll get the winner of Memphis or L.A., and the Lakers, you know, they're what they are. They're up and down. LeBron is, you know, great, but he has his moments. He's had his playoffs where he's just completely disappeared or crapped the bed, especially when he doesn't feel like he's in a situation where he can win and, you know, he can give up on a team pretty quickly. I mean, but it still, even then, should be the Memphis Grizzlies, who, with all the beef and history they had, if Golden State can't get fired up for anyone else and they can't get against Memphis, who, as good as they've been, let me mention this as well. As I'm getting into, I'm breaking down, I'm sorry, I got a lot of information up here, man. The Memphis Grizzlies on the road this year. Now, the Warriors took the cake. At 11-30 on the road, they were awful. I'm not going to sit here and argue. It was so fascinating to watch the Golden State Warriors be 33-8 at home, a top 5 team, and then be at 27th or 28th with an 11-30 road record. You don't see that very often, especially from a defending champion. But not far behind, the Memphis Grizzlies are 16-25 on the road.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the fact that Memphis Grizzlies only won, in the end, 5 more road games than the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to give you that one more time. After everyone focused on the Warriors, and rightfully so, and their abysmal road record, as bad as they played, the Memphis Grizzlies were only 5 games better than everyone pointing out to. How can you say this team's a contender? They suck on the road. Look at them. They're 11-30. With the Grizzlies being 16-25, they're not that much better.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
So if Golden State picks one up on the road, if they play each other, which I think they will, suddenly you got a ball game. Because both teams are very good at home. So, I mean, if anyone can get a road win in that series, suddenly that pendulum swings very far the other way. And Golden State is rolling right now, which is very fun to see for me. I'm a huge Steph Curry guy, not a big fan of Draymond. Draymond is a loudmouth, annoying, what's the word? Douchebag.
Douchebag says what?
That's right. He's a giant douchebag who is continually trying to get his 18th technical and get suspended in the playoffs, just like he did so many years ago when he blew the 73-9 Game 5 because he had to kick people in the balls.
He kicked him in the ding ding.
He's the bane of my existence. I can't stand him. I think there's other people that can do what he does eventually in the future, but I am, again, delving off into other things. I am a huge fan of Steph, Clay. I love Jordan Poole, even though he's horribly inconsistent. The Golden State Warriors just yesterday beat the snot out of the Portland Trailblazers. Now, it was their third string, and basically they were supposed to. You know, I mean, when you're a Warriors team needing that victory to avoid the play-in, you have most of your starters except for Andrew Wiggins, and you're playing Portland. It's the last game of the season. They have nothing to go for. They're playing their third string. You're supposed to win. But when you win by 50-plus points and you have an NBA record-setting 55-point first quarter,
damn, Daniel.
That's a way to go into the playoffs. They are 8-3 in their last 11. They won 3 of their last games in a row. They won some road games finally, and this last one in Portland, even though it was playing against the end of the bench, I got to give the Warriors credit. They went out and did their thing. Of course, I got highlights for this one. Got to see some of this again. 55 points in the first quarter. Got to watch this whole thing live. Had a blast.
The three-point shooting has been crazy. Oh, Peyton. Pickpocket of Sharp. Moody on the handle. Moses slipped. Curry sidestep 3. Got another one. Moody may have slipped, but he got it to the right guy. Shot clock at 8. Keep the ball moving at 7.
Step back, fly by. Thank you very much.
Around 3. Got it! 55 for the Warriors.
55-point first quarter. Since I have them, why don't I just play a couple more highlights since I enjoy my Golden State boys doing so well. Here was Klay Thompson went
to
just
Malcolm
berserk.
Brogdon. It's pretty crafty, and if you're Steph there, you just force him to the screen. The help is on the wrong side. As Klay knocks down another 3.
We were going to wonder if Klay would get to 300.
Be ready for whatever comes my way.
Yeah, Trendon Watford, a couple free throws. He had 24 yesterday against the Clips.
Give me that.
Klay Thompson with 4 threes. Williams, given name Janathan, prefers to be called Nate. The 4 years at Buffalo, as Kalena mentioned.
Oh, excuse me.
Klay Thompson.
Give me that.
300. Wow. 300 threes in a year.
So, yeah, Klay Thompson, by the way, with that 3 is now 300 three-pointers made. He actually beat Steph Curry, who had injuries this year, but still, it's the best shooting year of his career. He ends the season with 7 games in a row, I believe, hitting 5+ or more threes, averaged more points than he's ever had. Klay Thompson is in a perfect situation right now to really make a push for the playoffs. Jordan Poole and Curry combined for the most threes for a trio ever in NBA history. So as much as they live and die by the 3, they can shoot the 3.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
Gary Payton also has been a beautiful acquisition coming back. They should have been able to keep him if they wouldn't have traded or let him go in free agency and have to trade the number 2 overall pick and the only center that they have in the first place. But I digress. he is back. He has given them a lot between his defense, and a big thing he does is he will get little gimme points inside. He's great at hanging around the basket, offensive rebounds. He does a lot of little things here and there that are very important, which, with everything considered, Wiggins also returning. He will be back for the playoffs after his whole sabbatical with, I believe, a sick father. We never really got the whole story on that, so it's good to have him back. The Warriors, it's going to come down to some of the guys on their bench, but one of the ones who I've been the most in love with, the young, springy, and I'm going to get a little, probably a little weird on this one because he is just so fascinating as someone who could really make an impact on both ends of the floor. Jonathan Kuminga can be a huge maker. This can be a big part of it. The Warriors can make a push with their undersized situation. A lot of this is going to come down to this kid Kuminga who, you know, just a couple years in, one of the African transfers over. Young, springy, and the dunk he got yesterday. Oh, man, I was watching this with someone. They had to put the phone down because I screamed so damn loud. Look at Kuminga. I want to say 6'9", something like that, and got a little long, got a little length on him. But boy, is springy. He can shoot. He can do a lot of other things too. But boy, he can dunk.
4 seconds remaining in the period. Kuminga.
Even the bench is like, yeah.
Speaks for itself. 118-73 count. Warriors.
Jesus H. Christ! Want to see that one more time?
4 seconds remaining in the period. Kuminga.
Excuse me, I need that rim there. No.
His work speaks for itself.
Want to see that ish in slow motion? I got it in slow motion. Check this out. Just flying. Look, oh my God, just once in my life. Would have been amazing to be able to do something like that. Yeah, so I really think if anyone got lucky in their situation, Minnesota did not. Minnesota's in big trouble. Golden State got very lucky with the 6th seed. Clippers definitely did themselves no favors having to take on the Phoenix Suns, and we shall see the rest of it as we go along here. But I really, if you want just my way too early predictions as far as what I think is going to happen, I'll break it down. I think Milwaukee and Boston are going to face each other in the Eastern Conference Finals, although the 76ers-Boston matchup, which I think will happen second round, will be very interesting to keep an eye on. I will pick Phoenix. My heart wants me to pick Golden State, but I see Phoenix obviously beating the Clippers and winning the Denver series, and then probably beating my Warriors, who can get past Sacramento, and my heart tells me are going to get past Memphis Grizzlies. We'll see. There's a lot to discuss there, but NBA playoffs are here, and I'm excited for it. We'll talk more about it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
This was just a separate 2 minutes. Give me this for a minute. When I was watching that game last night with the Warriors just trouncing the Portland Trailblazers, they again won by 50, 55. It was like 160, 105, something like that. They had the 55-point first quarter, NBA record setting. It really did, though, remind me one more time just the difference, even in the NBA, because Portland was playing their bench. As great as it was, as fun as it was to watch, if you're the Warriors, don't get too excited about that last game, as good as you looked. You played the end of Portland's bench at the end of their season. And I was talking to someone as I'm watching the game, and I made the point, because it reminded me of conversations I've had growing up. I just don't know if you're one of these people, if you're one of these delusional people as you watch, and let's say you're like me, you played high school, you played some college. I got bad news for you, man. You're not someone who can beat an NBA player in any way, shape, or form. You were not almost right there. It just reminded me of like the difference in levels. Let me tell you.
Let me enlighten you about your new friend here. about what he's really like.
Again, if you watch the highlights of that game, it was, you know, the boys playing the JV, the varsity playing the JV looking, and those are NBA players. You know what I mean? Those are NBA players. The guys that they destroyed yesterday by 50 and made them look like nothing will go to your rec league or your pickup game or wherever you're at, and they will eat your lunch. They will absolutely destroy you, hands down, no contest. Well, I was all-state in high school. I played Division I. I don't care. I literally do not care about anything as far as what you're a douchebag. If you really, it just reminded me.
Douchebag says what?
If you really think that you can beat an NBA player, there's levels to it, dog. There's levels. And watching that just reminded me. I had so many conversations when I played in either junior college or Division II. I'd have my boys sitting there, and they would say things like, man, I could take, you know, Allen Iverson or whoever. I could take him to the hole, or I could beat him. I was like, dude, he would kick your ass. And they continued to argue with me. No! Just watching, that's just the separation in just the NBA. If you are one of these people who thinks that you had a shot because you were either really good in high school or you played some college, I got to break it down to you. It goes like this to get to where, like, the Stephs and Clays are of the world. It goes college. There's Division II, Division III, Division II, Division I. Then there, even if you get to Division I, there's the blue bloods. You know, there's the blue blood colleges. There's a difference between making it at, you know, San Diego State versus making it at North Carolina if you're trying to get to the next level. Then to get to the next level, usually, even on the blue bloods, you have to be the best player on your team in college. Then, once you become the best player on your team in college, usually you have to be someone who set, like, conference records to get drafted. Very rarely, unless you, like, had a good championship run or you did something, if you're a blue blood and you're not someone who, if you had not just a one and done, and you're just a top 5 recruit out of high school, you usually have to set records to do it. Oh, then once you get there, you're going to get drafted. Then you probably might have to start off in the G League or the Euro League. Then if you do get drafted, you don't want to get, there's second-round picks who don't get guaranteed money and have a hard time getting there. Guys like Draymond and others had to work their ways up. Then you make it to an NBA bench. Then you might become a role player. Then there's a starting level. Then there's the difference between a starter and a consistent starter. Then there's the difference between a consistent starter and an actual contributor. Then there's the difference between a contributing starter like a Middleton and a constant all-star. Then, you know what I mean? So this idea that, oh, I was really good in high school or I played college and I was right there. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, like 10 levels that you still would have to climb. And even if you get all the way to the NBA, you could be like that poor Portland team I saw yesterday who just got trounced and looked like they didn't belong on the court. And those guys would kick your ass. Do not let anyone around you ever in the history of Everdom tell you, oh, you know, I was this close to the league because I played da-da-da-da. No, you were not. No, you were not. You were not even close. Famously, Brian Scalabrine made this a big thing. I'm going to get to a couple videos here and call it a day. But in case you never saw this, Brian Scalabrine is a bigger guy, but a big old white ginger, goofy-looking sumbee, you know what I mean?
Because I'm white. Because he's white. Because he is white. Look at him, man.
Was statistically one of the worst NBA players ever. Statistically, you know, his best year, he averaged like 6 points a game for the Bulls, was constantly, was the epitome of that white boy.
It's all right, because it's all white.
The white boy towel waver, the Jack Haley back in the Spurs. I mean, this guy lived on the end of benches and was more there for moral support, tying shoes and handing out Gatorade than he ever was contributing in the playoffs. And people started giving him grief, and he finally just started accepting challenges from like high school and Division I players. There's a lot of these videos. You can look these up. The Scalabrine challenges, or as he called them, the Scalenge, which, let me go ahead and admit, that's a pretty awesome nickname there.
All right, you got me. That's an awesome nickname.
Any dad jokey kind of thing I can be down with. But this is just one. So some high school kid at a gym who was varsity on his team, you know, whatever, put his shoes on the line. Just to give you an idea of the levels. There's levels to this, dog.
I get in the video? I get in the video? Yeah. First count. I got Mike. Okay, Dave.
And yeah, looking at Brian, look at him. He's out of shape. He's got his goofy little Balenciaga. He doesn't even have basketball shoes on. He's had that gut since he's been in the league. Big, ugly-looking ginger, doesn't look like much, looks like mostly an assistant coach, right? This kid's feeling himself, puts his shoes on the line because, I could take, I'm that close to the league, and I think I can beat up an NBA guy.
What's the game to? Just whatever. You're going to just dribble around.
Look, he got the shirt tucked. I got to keep stopping it because look at this guy. Look at him, got his shirt tucked in. I mean, he's almost like Billy Hoyle, white men can't jump-ish, almost trying to troll him.
Because I'm white. Because he's white. Because he is white.
That is one of the goofiest damn outfits I've ever seen. Got his breast and gut all sticking out. Even in this point in his life, this happened.
Where you guys play? Where you guys play? Talk to me, Jay. Get that shit out of here. Hey. Oh. Hey. Hey.
He said hit the weight room.
Hey.
Baby. They play for kids?
8 away.
Yeah.
3.
Oh my God.
11-0. 11-0. One of the worst NBA players, dressed like he is lost his windowless van somewhere. Big, ugly ginger, never did much. Smoked that kid 11-0. There are other videos that get more into it. But I just wanted to, it was just a quick reminder, and I just wanted to make a quick aside to make this point. You were not almost there. No, you weren't. You were not almost there. You did not get this close. It's not because of, if I just would have, my knee didn't give out, or if I would have had, don't Uncle Rico yourself into thinking. Those are the NBA. That's the National Basketball Association. That is the best 200 and some odd players in the world. In the world. They will go to the depths of the Congo and find someone if he's one of the top 200 and something at this. It's a different level. It's a different level, and you weren't there. I'm done. Sorry, I got off on a little bit of a rant there, but it's just get tired of people's bitching and crying.
Crying all the time. Quit crying, just a push-up or something.
Got some videos for you. Let me end up on a couple, some ones that I wanted to bring you here. Oh, my God, did y'all see how almost everyone at the Masters, talk about life coming at you fast. Did y'all see this? A tree. A giant-ass tree just plopped down in the Masters. By the way, shout out to Rahm, and Tiger didn't do that great. I really didn't care about the Masters this year. The LIV, PGA, you're the new Saudis. We don't like all that was dumb. But the tree falling, that was the story to me. Look at this. In the middle of Augusta, people standing around almost got smashed by a tree.
Hey.
Oh, good gracious. Watch out.
Oh, my
God. I hope
word.
everybody is okay.
Holy smokes.
Big-ass tree, man. Like, that would have, that's try to enjoy every day, man. Life comes at you quick. Some days you're just, there's Tiger Woods over there. That's interesting. He's one of my favorite players. And,
Hey.
it can happen that quick. Look at this.
Good gracious. Watch
Bang!
out.
Oh, my
God. I hope
word.
everybody is okay.
Holy smokes.
Love how golf announcers still, that's about the most voice raised you're going to get from a golf announcer. Holy smokes, there was almost multiple dead bodies. There was also, you know what I mean? What would she have done? Just out of curiosity, if one of them, not that I wanted anyone to get hit, but and on the par, on the 10th hole here at Augusta, we had a tree fall on looks like middle-aged man. He seems to be suffering multiple lacerations and is possibly, yes, he's bleeding out internally right now. He's bleeding out, and it looks like the swelling is, EMTs are still 3 minutes away. I'm going to give him about a 300 chance of possibly. So that happened, in case you missed that. What else do I want to bring you? I loved, again, this was my favorite over a couple things that happened here. I loved watching the dog smack the kid on Easter weekend. This was great. Just again because of Easter.
Oh, boy, Jesus.
Doink. Ah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. That's what the golf, at least go to, oh, Jesus. A tree almost killed multiple people. And you're like, oh, holy smokes. This lady, just her dog accidentally tackles her kid, and she gets a better.
Oh, boy, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Gotta love dogs, though. I have dogs myself. Easter teaches you to be grateful. Be grateful for your dogs. Dogs are awesome. Had a couple more. If this doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what to tell you. This is one of the cutest damn videos I've ever seen. Dogs, I'm telling you, look at you. They understand things. They're the dumbest, smartest creatures in the world. And that's what can be so unbelievably frustrating about owning a dog. They are the dumbest, smartest creatures on the planet.
Frustrating. Frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
1 minute, they'll chew your remote and they'll pee all over your couch, and the next thing you know, they will watch you work out and follow you and actually do exactly the same workout. Look at this. Look at this dude who does squats every day and brings his dog. They just figure stuff like this out on their own. Look at this. So big Marine guy. Oh yeah, we're gonna do some squats. That's cool. All right, so you bend up, you go down, go up, down. Big ass German Shepherd just, oh, that's how Dad's squatting. All right, that's what we do. I guarantee you, at some point in his life, that same dog also took a steaming dump in the middle of their living room. Pee-pee! And was like, what? That seemed like an appropriate place to do that. I guarantee he woke up one day to his mattress soaked. Pee-pee! And the same damn dog can also just by just eye recognition learn like, oh, we're doing squats now. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. So that one was cute. I had one more dog video. This one, come on, man. Jiu-jitsu. I'm keeping them sports related. So a guy was doing jiu-jitsu in a tournament recently, and the dog actually tried to, like, I guess felt there was danger or something and tried to protect him. Check this out. Daddy, are you okay? Are you okay, Daddy? Don't hurt my father. He's a good man. Again, same dog, probably, peed in the car on the way there. Got to see that one more time. If you don't love, I don't get, if you're not a dog person, I don't know what to say to you, man. Like, it's your life, your choice. Look at how much, they too dumb to understand the tournament, but understand that his dad was maybe in trouble. He's like, let me go ahead and see if I can't break this up here a little bit. Get off my father. He feeds me. How dare you? Very cute. Very cute. Very, very cute. Gotta love dogs. Last one. What else do I have? I wanted to bring, I love doing these at the end. Oh my God. All right. I got the last one I wanted to bring you here. The legend. I don't know who this kid is. I don't know what his name is. And he might be in juvenile hall at this point. I don't know. I don't get where it happened.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't care. This kid is a legend. In some little league game somewhere, this kid was playing catcher and just went pure stone cold on the entire just operation. I don't believe this is fake, and I got to find out who this kid is, where he's from, and what his parents did. As the title even caption says, he's grounded until 2050. This kid's awesome. He tosses him. Oh, you're going to toss me? You're going to toss me? You're going to toss me? Everybody can get these. I got to show that one more time. Look at this kid. I don't know why the umpire even ejects him, but this is just beautiful. Says he's out of there. Oh, I'm out? Oh, I'm out. You know what? You look like a little penis with that hat on. I don't need these clothes. F you guys, I'm out. I don't know who that kid is, but I love him. If and when I have a son and he plays Little League, I want him to end his games just like that. Both of them extended. All the bad attitude in the world. I am here for it. I'm here for that pettiness. I enjoy it. I enjoy you guys. We'll be back soon. Talk more playoffs and everything else. Till then, enjoy your day. Hopefully you had a great Easter weekend. Both of these out like this. See you next time.